Have you ever felt a chill run down your spine when you look into the murky depths of a river, wondering what secrets it might be hiding? Rivers, often seen as tranquil and unassuming parts of our natural landscape, can sometimes be the keepers of dark secrets and terrifying surprises. From ancient stones that emerge only to reveal ominous messages during droughts, to haunted statues with eerie pasts, the stories rivers hold are as varied as they are chilling. In this video, we're diving into the 15 terrifying things found in rivers that might just make you think twice before dipping your toes in the water. Number 15. Statue beneath the waves. Imagine walking along the river and seeing a woman's face breaking through the water surface. You're horrified, only to realize it's a realistic statue. This is an art installation that people see or may not see while walking along the serene banks of Bilbao's River Nervión. Depending on the water level, you may or may not witness this installation in its entirety. This startling sight, which first appeared unannounced, is the work of Mexican hyper-realist artist Ruben Orozco, titled Bahar, which translates to tomorrow in Basque. The sculpture has intrigued and unsettled passersby since its mysterious arrival. This 264 pounds fiberglass figure, partly submerged in the water, is not just a piece of art. It also entices passersby to think about the deeper meaning of this creation. What do you think this sculpture means? What's the message it's trying to evoke? Well, for me, it's the presence of living life to the fullest. I'm curious about your thoughts, so be sure to leave them in the comments. Number 14. Scuba diving spiders. This might not sound scary to some of you guys, but for those deathly afraid of arachnids, it could be a pretty big deal. Did you know there's a chance you could encounter a spider while swimming in a river? Meet the diving bell spider, scientifically known as Argyroneta aquatica. This unique species, found in Europe and Asia, leads a life almost entirely underwater, challenging the traditional notion of a spider's habitat. Now, the secret to this arachnid's underwater ability is in its abdomen. This arachnid breathes air, which it traps in a dome-shaped web suspended between aquatic plants. These webs, often likened to scuba suits or gills, allow the spider to extract oxygen from the water, enabling it to stay submerged for prolonged periods. This air bubble then functions similarly to a gill, replenishing the oxygen from the surrounding water. Because there's no competition beneath the water, the spider can prey on more creatures, like aquatic insects, crustaceans, mosquito larvae, and Daphnia. And while the spider is a predator, it isn't without its own threats, falling prey to creatures like frogs and fish. But if you really think about it, these spiders are quite helpful, don't you think? After all, they prey on harmful insects like mosquito larvae. I'm not too fond of spiders, but if I saw this guy hanging out in the nearby pond, I'd thank them for controlling the mosquito population. Number 13. NYC's East River Monster. As of 2021, there were 2.13 million species on the planet according to data provided by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, or IUCN. However, it's believed that there are over 1.75 million species that are yet to be identified. Quite horrifying to imagine, right? Perhaps that's why, from time to time, we encounter creatures that puzzle and bewilder even scientists. Take, for instance, the East River Monster, a topic you might be familiar with. In 2011, this discovery captured the attention of New Yorkers and the internet alike. This unknown creature's body was discovered in the East River near the Manhattan side of the Brooklyn Bridge. Quickly dubbed the East River Monster, the carcass, measuring 6 to 7 feet in length, sparked wild speculation about its origins. However, marine biologists identified it as an Atlantic sturgeon, known for its bony plates and ability to grow up to 12 feet long. The presence of such a large sturgeon, a species whose population has declined due to overfishing, in the East River was notable and suggested a possible recovery of their numbers in the area. Number 12. Thames Nessie. You probably know about the Loch Ness Monster, affectionately known as Nessie, while London's River Thames has its own. Just take a look at this clip. This enigmatic sighting, captured by a person who happened to be living near the river, captured a dark object moving through the water near the O2 Arena. The footage led to wild speculations about the possible presence of the legendary Loch Ness Monster taking a detour from its Scottish home to the Thames, or perhaps it's another creature. However, some viewers of the footage entertained the idea of a mythical creature visiting London, and others proposed more rational explanations such as a whale or a group of dolphins. After all, sighting some marine life like whales, porpoises, and dolphins in the Thames aren't entirely unheard of. For instance, over 2,000 seals and around 450 porpoises and dolphins have been sighted in the Thames in the past decade. Even the possibility of a sperm whale, which isn't native to the Thames, was considered, given that a young female whale was found in the river in 2006. Despite the speculation, experts have remained cautious and skeptical. The London Wildlife Trust, for example, acknowledged the footage but found it too unclear to identify the creature definitively. The excitement and mystery surrounding the sighting reflect our fascination with the unknown and the allure of legendary creatures like Nessie, which has captivated our imagination since it first made headlines in 1934. Number 11. 18th century cannons. The discovery of 18th century British cannons in the Detroit River is a fascinating tale that illuminates several historical mysteries, particularly regarding the colonial-era militarization of the Great Lakes region. The discovery dates back to 1984 when divers first stumbled upon these heavy artifacts, each weighing over 1,200 pounds and capable of firing a 4-pound cannonball. Initially, the discovery was made near a ridge known as Chicken Bone Reef, just offshore from Cobo Hall in Detroit. Over the years, more cannons were found, including one in 2011 by a Detroit police diving team during a training exercise. In total, 6 cannons were recovered from the Detroit River, and another related cannon was found on the Lake Erie shore near Monroe. These cannons, primarily manufactured in Britain with one from France, likely made their way to Detroit post the American Revolution when the control of Detroit was crucial for strategic and trade reasons. The Detroit River, from 1796 to 1812, was a pivotal location, essentially a linchpin upon which the balance of power in the frontier precariously rested. The reasons behind the submersion of these cannons in the river have been a subject of intrigue and speculation. Daniel Harrison, the lead researcher and an anthropology doctoral student at Wayne State University, suggests that the British, who controlled Detroit at the time, deliberately dumped the cannons into the river. The reasons might include the cannons being worn out or obsolete, especially when artillery technology was rapidly advancing. Moreover, there's a possibility that they were deemed too dangerous to fall into American hands. Today, these cannons serve not just as relics of a bygone era, but as crucial pieces of historical evidence. They shed light on the colonial history of Detroit, which has yielded surprisingly few artifacts from its French and then British periods. The cannons are now displayed in various locations, including the Detroit Historical Society's Collections Resource Center at historic Fort Wayne, the Dawson Great Lakes Museum on Belle Isle, and the Michigan Historical Center in Lansing. Number 10. Bronze head of a Roman emperor. Now, this is quite an old discovery, but it's a bizarre find nonetheless. This bronze head was discovered in the River Thames near the London Bridge in 1834. Can you imagine the horror the person felt when he thought he just found a severed head? The bronze head, now housed in the British Museum, was originally part of a larger statue, 1¼ times life-size, likely erected in a public space like a forum. It would have been an imposing sight, symbolizing Roman authority and civilization. The statue may have been created to commemorate Hadrian's visit to Britain in 122 CE. Such imperial visits often sparked urban development and beautification projects, reinforcing the emperor's presence and power. Although broken and far from its original grandeur, the craftsmanship of the statue remains evident. Experts even claimed that the statue might have had eyes made out of glass when it was still in one piece. But who exactly is Hadrian, and why was he revered? Emperor Hadrian, born Publius Aelius Hadrianus on January 24, 76 CE, was among the great rulers of the expansive and influential Roman Empire. One of Hadrian's most notable contributions was his extensive travel throughout the Roman Empire. He spent a remarkable 12 out of his 21 years as emperor visiting various provinces, closely overseeing administration and maintaining the army's discipline. His devotion to the military was such that he often dined and slept among the common soldiers, despite his reign being marked by relative peace. But perhaps his most famous contribution was Hadrian's Wall in Britannia, a monumental fortification that marked the northern limit of Roman Britain and served as a symbol of Rome's power. Although this head might never reunite with the remaining part of the statue, it remains among the most bizarre and astounding things discovered in the River Thames. Number 9. Kangaroo fish. If you ever find yourself in the Amazon, this is the creature you should watch out for, the kangaroo fish. This translucent and agile swimmer has long been the subject of a particularly unsettling legend that it can swim up the human urethra. But how true is this? Historically, there have been various accounts of the kangaroo invading human bodies, as noted by naturalist Paul Lecointe in 1891 and echoed by others like Gudger in 1930. However, these accounts often lack concrete evidence and remain largely anecdotal. In fact, the only documented case occurred in 1997 in Brazil, where a man claimed a kangaroo jumped from the water into his urethra while he was urinating in a river. However, even this claim is shrouded in mystery. But what's the undeniable truth? The kangaroo is a parasitic fish, typically attaching itself to the gills of larger fish and feeding on their body fluids. However, Researchers in 2001 contested the claim that candaris are attracted to urine, suggesting they hunt by sight rather than smell. This debunks the popular belief and reduces the likelihood of such incidents. Over the years, various extreme and somewhat creative methods have been suggested to remove a kangaroo once lodged in a human body, ranging from the use of pliers, sounds painful, to more traditional remedies like drinking tea made from the jagua fruit. But it's important to remember that these are more part of local lore and desperate attempts at solutions, rather than medically advised procedures. Well, in situations like this, it's always better to prevent than to cure. Number 8. Underwater monsters. The gunch, it doesn't sound like the most intimidating name out there, but for those who know about this lore, this creature is to be feared. Known by various names across different regions, including gunch in Urdu, Hindi, and Punjabi, this species is recognized for its substantial size and unique appearance. It can grow to an impressive 6 feet long and weigh over 200 pounds, boasting a large, flat head equipped with 4 rows of sharp teeth. Primarily found in large rivers with fast currents in the Indian subcontinent, such as the Indus and Ganga basins, the gunch catfish thrives in deeper pools near faster currents, but is not found in small streams. Its massive size and predatory nature have earned it the nickname river monster, a title further cemented by infamous incidents like the Kali River gunch attacks. Its fame spread mainly during the Kali River gunch incidents between 1998 and 2000 in India and Nepal. The first occurrence in 1998 involved a 17-year-old being dragged underwater in front of eyewitnesses. Several more incidents and sightings followed suit. The fame of the gunch spread enough for British biologist Jeremy Wade to examine and study these creatures personally. Initially, Wade was skeptical about whether catfish could develop a penchant for humans. After all, there were plenty of prey in the waters of the Ganga, and a human seems like a lot of trouble to capture. He was shocked when he found out the truth after encountering the massive gunch living in the Kali River. He later theorized that the creature might have developed a taste for human flesh, possibly due to consuming half-burnt human remains discarded from funeral pyres along the riverbanks. Truly a horrifying creature. Number 7. Victor's Way Indian Sculpture Park. Tucked away near Roundwood in County Wicklow, Ireland, lies Victor's Way, an intriguing Indian sculpture park. This privately owned meditation garden spans a 9-hectare property and is renowned for its striking black granite sculptures. Originally opened as Victoria's Way, the park was rebranded to its current name, Victor's Way, in 2016, specifically focusing on attracting a mature audience interested in contemplation and reflection. The artworks are deeply symbolic, blending elements of Indian philosophy and spirituality. The first statue to greet visitors is a fasting Buddha, setting the tone for the introspective journey ahead. Victor's Way is particularly famous for its 8 statues of Ganesha, the elephant-headed Hindu deity, depicted in various dynamic forms such as dancing, reading, and playing musical instruments. Intriguingly, all of Ganesha's sculptures were crafted in Tamil Nadu, India, each requiring a year's work by 5 artisans. However, our focus is this sculpture, the Ferryman's End. It's quite horrifying to see it springing out of the water. It depicts the end of a ferryman's journey, symbolizing the conclusion of life or a particular life phase. The sculpture is often viewed as a representation of the transition from life to death or ignorance to enlightenment. Its appearance can be unsettling or terrifying to some, not only because of its hideous appearance but also because of its thought-provoking meaning. Number 6. Underwater monsters. The manatee, often called the gentle giant, can make quite a splash when startled in calm waters. For example, take a look at this video. Despite their hefty size, often weighing nearly half a ton, manatees are known for their docility and pose little to no danger to humans. They don't exhibit aggressive behaviors but instead display a curious and friendly demeanor towards humans, often approaching them out of curiosity. Manatees are also known for their splashing behavior when scared or startled. While they don't harm people or other animals, watching them can be pretty terrifying. Just take a look at this. If you didn't know any better, you would think that an underwater monster is hiding beneath the waves and creating these huge splashes. This bizarre and unique behavior could be a response to various disturbances, including the presence of boats or human interaction that they find intrusive or alarming. And so, if you ever see these splashes while in water, just know that it's most likely just poor manatees that thought they were in danger. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. The image described captures a moment that initially seems to belong to the realm of the unexplained, with mysterious figures emerging from the water, seemingly on the hunt for sustenance. Such sightings fuel the imagination, leading one to speculate about the existence of unidentified creatures lurking in the depths of our waters. However, the explanation behind this phenomenon is much more grounded in the reality of human culture and adaptability. The individuals in question are likely members of a hunter-gatherer tribe with an intrinsic connection to the water, such as the Bijou people. Often referred to as sea nomads, the Bijou have developed a profound bond with the ocean, mastering remarkable freediving skills that allow them to interact with the marine environment in ways that are almost beyond belief for those living in more conventional societies. The Bijou's way of life is a testament to human resilience and ingenuity. Over thousands of years, they have built a unique maritime culture that prioritizes harmony with the sea. While modern civilization looks to the stars and dreams of colonizing outer space, the Bijou remind us of the vast and unexplored worlds that exist here on Earth, particularly under the sea. Living predominantly in the waters around the Philippines, Malaysia, and Indonesia, the Bijou people have adapted physically and culturally to life at sea. Their exceptional diving abilities, developed from a young age, enable them to dive deep without modern equipment, holding their breath for extended periods to fish, gather sea cucumbers, and hunt underwater. The sea is not just their home but the center of their universe, providing them with food, livelihood, and a profound sense of identity. This portrayal serves as a reminder of the diversity of human existence and the various ways communities adapt to their environment. It highlights the importance of preserving such unique cultures in the face of globalization and environmental change, ensuring that the knowledge and traditions of the Bijou and other indigenous peoples are not lost but celebrated and protected. Number 5. Spanish Stonehenge. It's easy to forget about things that have been kept hidden from sight. The story of the Spanish Stonehenge is the same. Also known as the Dolmen of Guadalperal, the Spanish Stonehenge is a set of megalithic monuments hidden beneath the waves of the Valdecañas Reservoir in Cáceres, Spain. This impressive archaeological marvel dates back to between 4,000 and 7,000 years ago. But unlike its namesake on the plains of England, it's hidden and impossible to reach unless there's drought. Composed of about 140 boulders arranged in a concentric circle, this structure likely served dual purposes as a temple and a cemetery. However, much of the site remains a mystery. Its last appearance was in 2022, the time when the drought affected most of Europe. This site was initially excavated in the 1920s by German researcher Hugo Obermeier, but its full extent remained underwater and largely unexplored until the recent drought. The unexpected way this site disappeared underwater might surprise you. Until 1963, the dolmen wasn't submerged. But under Francisco Franco's regime, the area where it's located was completely flooded to give way to a dam and a reservoir. Since then, the site has only been visible 4 times, leaving archaeologists little time to study it. Number 4. Electric eels. The electric eel, a resident of the murky waters of South America, is a creature that's as fascinating as it is formidable. Despite being called an eel, it's actually a fish, more closely related to catfish than to true eels. These creatures can grow to over 6 feet long and weigh up to 44 pounds. Aside from their enormous size, these creatures are also horrific because of the electricity they can emit. These marine creatures are unique because they mainly rely on echolocation to navigate and hunt in their dark aquatic environment. Due to their poor vision, this nocturnal predator is known for its unique air-breathing capability, allowing it to survive in oxygen-poor waters. When faced with a dangerous predator, this creature can produce shocks up to a staggering 860 volts. This unique ability serves as the primary tool for hunting and self-defense. Electric eels have specialized electric organs containing electrocytes, cells that function like biological batteries. They stack these cells to amplify the electrical charge, which they can unleash in short, high-voltage bursts. While these shocks are powerful enough to stun prey or deter predators, they're not usually fatal to humans. However, the idea of a fish that can produce such a high voltage is shocking literally and figuratively. Number 3. Mata Mata. Sounds like an ominous name, right? However, in reality, the Mata Mata is a turtle, but it's far different from its other relative. This creature resides in the murky waters of South America's Amazon and Orinoco basins. Its shell resembles a piece of bark, while its head resembles fallen leaves. Its appearance alone is enough to make it a contender for the title of one of the most bizarre, and some might say horrifying, creatures in river ecosystems. These creatures are predominantly sedentary, preferring to walk rather than swim in their slow-moving aquatic environments. They're also nocturnal and have a unique hunting technique. Despite their poor eyesight, Mata Mata turtles are equipped with sensory aids that help them detect movements in the water. When a fish comes close enough, they move their prey into shallow water, encircle it, and wave their front legs to prevent escape. Then, the turtle quickly thrusts out its head, opens its mouth, and contracts its flanges, creating a vacuum with its wide-open mouth to suck in the prey. The feeding technique, known as suction feeding, after capturing the fish, the Mata Mata turtle closes its mouth, expels the water, and swallows the prey whole, as it cannot chew due to its mouth structure. This method of suction feeding is both fascinating and a tad unnerving. Yes, these guys are pretty voracious eaters. Their mating behavior is also quite bizarre. During courtship, male matamata turtles extend their limbs and lunge their heads toward females with their mouths wide open. They also move their lateral flaps on their heads as part of their display. The matamata turtle's unique appearance, feeding behavior, and mating rituals make it one of the most bizarre and fascinating creatures of the Amazon River basin. Number 2. Hunger stones. In today's era, we usually get our updates online. A crisis in the country? Check the internet for more information. Celebrity news? Social media has everything about that. Impending famine? The internet. However, in the past, way before the time of the internet and back when Christopher Columbus was still exploring the world, people relied on stones. Yes, you heard that right, stones. In 2022, a severe drought brought Europe's lakes and rivers to an all-time low. Surprisingly, the depleting waters revealed interesting inscriptions, the hunger stones. One of the most famous inscriptions was the hunger stone on the Elbe River in Dessau, Czech Republic. The messages were created from the 1600s, but older ones were found from 1417 and 1473. These hunger stones only appear during drought, and in the past, drought meant impending famine. "If you see me, then weep," read the inscription on the Elbe. "When this goes under, life will become more colorful again," is another message inscribed on one of the stones in the Rhine. Today, these hunger stones mean nothing to us. They were merely reminders about times when people were completely at the mercy of Mother Nature. We have no information as to which people or culture created these hunger stones, but many of them can be found all across Europe, leading archaeologists to believe it was a common practice to inscribe these warnings across many cultures at the time. Number 1. Creepy dolls. If you fear dolls and find them creepy, perhaps this place might be something out of your nightmare. The Island of the Dolls, or La Isla de las Muñecas in Spanish, is a peculiar and eerie location situated in the canals of Xochimilco near Mexico City. This small island is famous for the hundreds of dolls hanging from its trees. The story that came along with it is equally creepy. The story began when the island's caretaker, Don Julian Santana Barrera, found a doll in the canal shortly after discovering the body of a drowned girl. He hung the doll in the trees as a tribute to her spirit. Over the years, he continued to hang more dolls, which he found or traded for, to please the girl's spirit. Following his death in 2001, the island became a public tourist attraction. It's known for its unsettling atmosphere, with dolls in various states of decay, creating a haunting scene that draws ghost hunters from all around the globe.